Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 13 of Chasing Sound Live. Really psyched to be here. This is the last live stream of 2021. Started doing these this year, earlier this year. Again, did one every other week for 13 episodes. So I guess something like 26 weeks or so. Super happy to be starting to do this in the new year. Going to be back doing live streams in the new year too in 2022, probably at the beginning of January. But I'm going to take a little bit of a break, around Christmas and around New Year's. But yeah, just I wanted to do one more before the end of the year just to kind of talk about some of my favorite stories so they don't get too stale before next year. And then also, just talk about chasing sound in general and where that's going in 2022. I know I've been kind of talking about it over the last couple of streams, but just wanted to do a little bit of a wrap up and show you guys, maybe some of the stuff I'm working on or thinking about, and get some feedback from you in the comments if you're watching this later. So, it's a kind of a cold Saturday here in New Jersey, but yeah, I'm super excited to do this, and last stream of the year. Also, last newsletter of the year is going out tomorrow. And then I'm going to take a break for that, kind of recharge the batteries, and come back in 2022 with a new newsletter. If you've been reading the newsletter, it's been going out for years now, every Sunday. I'm thinking I've always been tweaking it over the last couple of years with different sections, album recommendations, how many links I'm including. Right now, I have quite a few links in there every week. It's usually over 1,000 words every newsletter. I think I'm going to stick with that because I know me myself, really like seeing all the different links over time, and I kind of like just skim and see what I like, and then I check that stuff out. So I feel like the more the better. If you think it's too many links, let me know, and if you think not, then that's cool too. Like I said, I think I'm going to keep on sticking with as many cool things as I find in the week. I don't want to leave anything out. At the beginning, when the newsletter first started, it was kind of hard to keep it to just 6 things. So, I kind of gave myself that freedom to make it be as many things as I want. And it's been working really well. A lot of people are clicking different links in email, and I kind of see what's working, just happy to share all these cool things that I'm checking out during the week because I think they're helpful. I try not to include anything too boring or whatever. I try to include stuff that really makes a difference, right? So that's what the newsletter is about. But the structure of it, I'm just trying to think about what I could do in the new year and how I can make it better. I think I'm done with recommending an album unless I find something really incredible. I don't want to stick to that every week. But I got a couple different ideas of what I want to do. And if you have any suggestions too, hit me up. On the internet, I'm chasing sound everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, everything. And we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the stream. I think it's a shorter one than usual. I always say that, and then we end up going about an hour. But yeah, I have a lot of cool stuff to talk about, so stick around to the end if you are here live. Let's just get right into it. I have 2 weeks worth of links to share, only a handful of stuff from last week's newsletter, and then a bunch of links actually for tomorrow's newsletter that's going out. So let's just jump right in. The first thing I really loved from last week was this video from Tom Bukovac, who we just mentioned. His Plexi Soul album we've been listening to so much over here. It's such a good album. I've been recommending it in the Discord. Everyone seems to be liking it here. What's funny is Tom made this video and he's like, I'm going to keep it short. I think he says that around 8-9 minutes, and it's a 44-minute video. When I was in school for recording and engineering, I was part of so many of these little groups like you see here where you got a bunch of musicians just kind of hanging out over lunch or dinner and talking about, how the session is going. But the cool thing that Tom does here is he kind of surveys all these different musicians and sees, how are these, what's the most important stuff that you can tell an up-and-coming musician if they want to hang with other guys in the studio, right? And who better to talk about other than, this type of stuff, other than somebody like Tom or these other musicians that are here cutting a record, for one of the artists. And I think, it comes down to a lot of easy stuff where, don't ask too many questions right away. Be prepared. Like, don't mess up your parts. Try to be prepared for the session. Just try to, stay in your own lane, but also fit in with the group as time goes on. But there's a lot. If you look through the comments, there's a lot of gold in this video. I turned it on and I'm like, oh man, it's 44 minutes. Am I really going to watch this? I watched the whole thing. It was worth it, as most videos from Tom are. A guy like that who's in the studio that often has a lot of knowledge to share. And I think the biggest reason why I like him is not only is he a phenomenal, like really, really good guitar player who's tasteful with all his licks, but he also is very genuine and authentic. At least that's the way he comes across. And these guys seem the same way. Like even the artist comes in, I think midway through the video, and is talking, gives his suggestions for hanging out with musicians as well in a session. So if you're looking to do sessions in the new year, and who isn't, right? Like, oh my God, I hope 2022, midway through at least, I hope we start turning the corner here. There's been a lot of craziness, of course, going on with all this this COVID stuff. But hey, I really hope we could start getting back to some type of normal. I don't want to be a downer, so we'll leave it at that. But go check out this video and see what you think. That's right on Tom Bukovac's channel. Then another cool thing from last week was this link from Guitar World, where they talked about how St. Vincent, who, she's just doing so awesome, not only with her like signature guitars and all the great albums she's been putting out lately, but, the tone and the new type of guitar that she's bringing to the table, right? For a lot of different people, very inspiring. The cool thing about this article is that a little while back, the guy, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, is super secretive, along with the engineer, Joe Barresi, about how they get their tones, what they do in the studio. I've seen a handful of things here and there from like a Queens of the Stone Age, behind the scenes recording documentary, where they talk about drums and they talk a little bit about guitar, but there's not too much information coming out of this, the Queens of the Stone Age camp. But one thing that Josh did let people know, and I linked this in the newsletter a couple weeks back, was that he said the tone for No One Knows, which is like one of their biggest songs, actually employed a PV Decade. It's like more of like a practice amp that you would have found. And the cool thing about this is that St. Vincent said that she actually had it built into a pedal after Josh revealed that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they have any photos here. Maybe something about, nothing, no photos. But I think the biggest question is, now that they've done that, will PV, will PV actually start to create a pedal like this? They said the amp they used to be like $200 as a practice amp, and now they're like $3,000 somewhere, probably on Reverb. I believe it. People go crazy with this type of stuff, and they start selling them. Like you see the Klon and everything, they start selling them for crazy prices. So, I'm really excited to see if they do anything like that. And I just think it's cool that St. Vincent is doing unique things and trying to like change her tone all the time. And then the last one from last week that I really enjoyed, or I enjoyed to laugh at, was, oh man, David Lee Roth, what is he doing? I mean, what is he doing? I think after Eddie Van Halen died, he's just trying to, he was going to try to bow out gracefully. And I know he said he wasn't going to do any more shows. He was kind of going to be done. He had been on radio for a little while. I remember he was doing a podcast for some time. He's just a weird cat. So he's saying that Frankenstein stripes were his work. The coolest thing about this article is that if you scroll down, you have what David Lee Roth said. He said it was basically his idea. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to give it any more airtime here. But if you scroll down, you have Chris Gill, who's a Guitar World contributor, and Brad Talinsky, also. These guys are legends of the magazine world. They recently released this book. I think I linked this in the newsletter, called Eruption: Conversations with Eddie Van Halen. It's a biography, and I'm almost certain we talked about this, but the reason why this book is so cool, at least why they were stating that it's so cool, is because they are also guitar players themselves. And sometimes back in the day when Eddie would get interviewed, they didn't, the interviewer didn't have that common ground with Eddie to talk to him about. So the cool thing about this book is, Brad and Chris would have that common thing with Eddie, where they're all guitar players. They could talk to him about that stuff he loved, obviously, loved the guitar, and then get into some of the deeper stuff. So that's why this book is supposedly so cool. Now, the interesting thing here is that Gill is saying that Roth's story does not add up. So there's a bunch of different errors. So the first one is that Eddie didn't have that Frankenstein in 75 or 76, like David Lee Roth said. He also says the white Stratocaster that Roth mentions was not the foundation of the Frankenstein. It was very well documented that Ed created the black and white finish by placing strips of masking tape, right? So we all have seen that. If you're a big fan of Eddie, I'm sure you've seen this type of video or him talking about that. But the most funny thing is that Gill says the blue tape that Roth referred to in the in the video or in the interview was that the 3M blue painter's tape wasn't even invented until 1988. So, I mean, try again, I guess. I'm sure he has a long time of being on the road. Maybe his memory isn't what it was. But I mean, come on, what are we doing, David Lee Roth? I don't understand what he's doing here, but at least we have Eddie Van Halen's music still, right? Because I don't want to hear any more of this nonsense. If you do happen to get that book, though, let me know what you think of it, because I haven't checked it out yet, but I've only heard good things, and I read some interviews with these guys in Guitar Player about a month or so ago, and it sounded really, really cool. All right, so let's move on to some of my favorite links for tomorrow's newsletter that's coming out. This is one from Chris Gill. He's showing up on Marty Music's channel, who has 3 million subscribers on YouTube, which is incredible. So going from one Van Halen story into an actual helpful Van Halen story, this is all about triads, right? So the cool thing about this is if you've been on any of these streams, especially the latest couple where I've been talking about trying to get back to theory and learning all about theory, how important it is. I've been really loving Chris's videos because that's the main thing of his channel, is that he really focuses in on theory and the why of what you're playing, the what of what you're playing. So this is a Van Halen video, and he's really just talking about triads. And the cool thing about this is that he talks about traditionally we might have like a bar chord or an open cowboy chord to play, but at the end of this you can really have a number of different triads that you can play all across the neck. And he teaches us stuff on different string sets, so you can kind of a lot of guitar players, they don't have knowledge of the middle of the fretboard, or maybe on some of the middle strings like the D string or the G and the B. They kind of don't know where those notes are. If you don't, go back a couple streams and check out some of the lessons that I did about finding notes on the fretboard and about major chords and bar chords, because there's some really good information there. But then you got to really check out this video. Again, it's on Marty Music's channel, and this is one of the biggest things that I've been focusing on this year, and will definitely roll into next year, because I feel like all this triad knowledge, other than stuff like the major scale, is one of the most important things you can learn as a guitar player. I'm currently taking the brand new aerial posing course on TrueFire, and it's not a really long course, but it teaches you triads starting on the 6th string, the 5th string, the 4th string, and the 3rd string. And it goes over, major triads, minor triads, and at the end of it, you're supposed to know 12 shapes for both across the fretboard. So 24 shapes of different chords between just major and minor. And that's really helpful for a number of reasons. So not only, as Ariel says in his course, are these smaller chords sometimes more effective in like a live setting or even a recording setting, because you don't want to take up all the sonic space of the bass guitar player, even something like the kick drum, if you're playing maybe some of these lower notes. So maybe you play a smaller chord, and your chords actually end up popping more when you play these smaller chords with just the root, third, and fifth. Um, but the other good thing about it is that even just doing a couple days of this, and I'm really dedicating myself to it, even just doing a couple days of this, I can already see a bigger difference. And I've been playing guitar for so long, but you know, you play guitar, you get into your own funks where you're playing box patterns, you're playing regular chords. You don't really study theory as much, so I'm trying to get back to that. And I feel like every guitarist really should because playing all these triads over the different sections of the neck really makes you um, get better with your fretboard knowledge. Because again, even if you go through this course or this video for free on YouTube, if you go through any of those things and you're playing the tab, it's like, okay, anyone can play tab, right? But once you learn those shapes, the second thing would be to go back, and this is what I've been doing, go back and understand, what are my fingers playing here? If I'm playing, with my pinky, my ring, and my index, is that the first, third, and fifth? What kind of inversion am I doing here? Is it 3-5-1 or is it 5-1-3? So I think that's important. I know I've been talking a lot here, but I'm just so excited about this stuff. Getting back to really learning about theory again, I think is making such a big difference. So if you want somewhere free to start, go check out this video from Marty Music. It's really, really good. It's one of the best videos of the week. Up next, we have this video from Paul Davids. He did something similar like this last year. This year, he has 10 different pro guitarists jamming over the same track. And the cool thing that they do here is they thank Paul. They talk about their gear. They kind of talk about their approach to why they wrote the solo over these chords. And then they finally play their stuff. So you do have guys like Ariel Posen. You have guys like Paul Davids himself, Larry Basilio, who's a great guitar player as well. And then the video ends with Tom Quayle. And if you watch this video, again, this is a video that's about 25 minutes. Let me skip a little bit to the end here. I know I'm not playing the audio, but even if you just take a look at Tom here, he is just destroying it on his performance. The legato and the shreddiness is still tasteful, and it's just incredible. Go check out this video if you want to see a lot of great guitar players all jam over the same track. I think the benefit to this is hearing their approaches about why they did what they did, and then seeing, even Paul goes, I forgot who was playing it, but he for one of the guitar players, he's like, man, I'm going to have to go back and see what the heck this guy did over the solo, because I got to watch it 4 or 5 times just to understand, what happened there. So not only is it a cool video to hear great guitar, but it's also a cool video just to understand, again, all these guys' approaches to soloing over the same exact track. Next up, we got a cool video from Brian Wappler that just came out yesterday. This is awesome. I mean, if you have anything like GarageBand, Logic, Pro Tools, and you have any of these like EQ matching plugins, what Brian does here is he takes the Foo Fighters song Breakout, and he has stems of he has multi-tracks of these songs, so he's able to solo out just I think it's Dave Grohl's guitar and hear how it sounds. Then Brian plugs directly in, as far as I know, I think it's DI, and he does a double track of the guitar, and he's using an isotope plugin to do EQ matching, so that it uses the Foo Fighters guitar track as a reference, and then applies that EQ, just the EQ, to Brian's tracks, his double tracks, and it sounds pretty damn close, if you ask me. He didn't do anything else. I don't think he added anything further. He has an EQ on there, and he has what looks like a compressor, and it might even be bypassed. But you got to check this video out if you're like looking to get a certain tone and you have any of these EQ matching plugins. You got to check this out, because he does a really, really good job of explaining how easy it is to get really close to some of your favorite tones. And speaking of favorite tones, we have so many people doing reviews of the new Neural DSP John Petrucci plugin, which from every video that I've seen so far, it seems like this is the most feature-rich plugin from Neural DSP that has ever come out on all, from all of the different artist plugins that they have. It seems pretty intense. So yeah, here's Ola doing, he does a bunch of rhythm tones. He does some lead tones. He breaks out a 7-string to try detuned stuff on the plugin. He tries some of the clean tones because there's a whole amp dedicated to clean. And the cool thing about this is that you got amps from Petrucci, you got cabs, you even got effects. And I liked, one of my favorite Dream Theater songs is actually Peruvian Skies. Ola, later on in the video, when he's trying some of the effects, turns on one of the phasers, and it sounds really, really, really close. I think there's a trial for this plugin right now, so you can go check it out. But even after that, I think it's like $150. If I had this growing up, I would be my tone would be a lot better in some of the recordings that I did, because man, it sounds really, really good. And all this Neural DSP stuff that I've heard, the stuff from Corey Wong, the stuff from Pliny, all these guitar players who have signature plugins from them sound awesome. So go check this out. There's a lot of different reviews about this plugin right now, but Ola does a really, really good job of, kind of showing the whole interface, showing all the amps and effects and cabs. I think even at one point he does a custom IR as well. So go check that out. If you're a big fan of John Petrucci or Dream Theater, you're probably going to want this. All right, only two more videos and then maybe 2 more articles. This one I'll let play for a sec. This one is a Reverb series that I linked to a lot in the newsletter, but I hadn't seen one in a while. It's a Reverb series where one of the guys from Reverb tries different warm-up techniques from different guitar players. Like they've had Mateus Asado, all sorts of different people on here. But when I saw this one, I was really excited because I don't play a lot of acoustic guitar, but this is with Gabriela Quintero from Rodrigo and E. Gabriela, who I first heard a long time ago now when they were doing, covers of Metallica, and then they became like one of the most popular acoustic duos of all time, really, of recent years, right? So you got to watch this video. If you're interested in acoustic guitar playing at all, you have to check this out. There's 3 main parts of her warm-up. The first one is that she said she, unlike myself right now, is that she's not drinking any sort of coffee, and she's trying to get her mind right before, playing or recording. So she doesn't want any of that. The second thing she shows us is this wild triplet right-hand rhythm where she's, hitting with strings, hitting with her thumb, and doing an upstroke as well. Again, I'm not going to play it. I got to check that stuff out in the new year if I can play these videos, the audio. But you can see here she's doing like her thumb, and she's doing a thumb, a downstroke with fingers, and then an upstroke. But then when she really gets going into it, it's like a machine. Like it's really fast. Let's see if you can see her here. But yeah, her hand is just insane. Her right hand rhythm is wild. And that actually goes into her last thing where she does she says, let's bring in the beat. And she shows you how she does her percussion on the right hand. And it's just incredible. It's really incredible stuff. Hey, John, sorry, man. I didn't even see you there in the comments. I was just kind of rocking here by myself. But that's very cool. And the Neural DSP stuff is rocking. John, I don't know how much acoustic you play. I know you got a lot of the Kiesels over there, but I just really geeked out over this video, and this is going to be in the newsletter tomorrow. But if you go head over to Reverb's site, Reverb YouTube, you got to check it out because man, her playing is just so damn good. And when I first started chasing sound, I did an article on my top female guitar players of all time, and she was on there. You know, people like Nita Strauss, Bonnie Raitt are all on there. Um, if you're interested in getting into cool acoustic guitar, go check this out. It's very very cool. Um, this is another good video from another legend of the guitar YouTube scene, Justin Guitar. Uh, you know, I always nerd out about practicing, and this is a good video where Justin Guitar talks about how to practice 6 different areas. We won't talk about all of them, but the 2 things that I think are really great and kind of are not only good for guitar but are good for life in general is that practice. Number one, practice what applies to you. So he talks about, I think he makes the case that like, if you're playing country, you don't necessarily have to practice tapping. Like, don't even worry about that. Why? Of course we like to switch it up and kind of bring new techniques into genres that don't have them, but it's not very often that you're going to be using that technique in that genre. So practice what only applies to you. And the second one that he talked about, and why I think what I think that I'm trying to talk about myself, I actually brought it up in our Discord a couple days ago, is that he says, know why you're practicing something, and be more intentional. And what I said in our Discord a couple days ago was that I'm trying to catch myself whenever I play something that I know I've played a million times. I'm trying to stop playing that. I'm trying to get out of that box. A lot of the pentatonic stuff. If I'm playing like the traditional pentatonic pattern, I'm trying to switch it up. If that's why I'm doing this triad course as well, where I'm trying to break away from just regular bar chords. I'm trying to take these new triads and their inversions all around the circle of fifths, and I'm getting that from the aerial posing course. Kind of also combining that with the Tom Quayle's solo app, just to kind of get my fretboard knowledge up where it used to be back in college. So yeah, go check this video out from Justin Guitar. Always a good channel, and he always has good guests on his channel as well. And then yeah, we got 2 more quick things here. This one is kind of like the Eddie Van Halen, David Lee Roth thing, where it's just ridiculous. There's a 55-year-old German widow who has to pay court costs for both her and Eric Clapton because Eric Clapton had sued her for putting up a live bootleg that her late husband got for about $11 US on eBay. I don't know if this is Clapton. I don't know if this is his record label. But it just seems like, yeah, it looks like he's been in court for other things as well. It looks like Clapton is just actively trying to get people to dislike him. I don't know what his goal is with this and all the COVID stuff and the vaccine stuff. I don't know what his goal is here, but he's not making any new fans by having to charge this lady $4,000 for an $11 bootleg that she put up on eBay. So again, don't want to give too much airtime to this nonsense. I just thought it was kind of funny and tragic at the same time. And then finally, last link of the week, before we get into some talks about next year, is this information about Cesar from Gibson talking about Randall Smith from Mesa Boogie. And they, Gibson bought Mesa Boogie not too long ago. And now it seems that in the new year, that partnership is really coming into fruition a little bit more. If you look at the end of the article, Cesar was talking about how they weren't just looking to straight up, buy an amp brand. They really were working back and forth where, Gibson would send them some stuff and then Boogie would send them some stuff back. And they would see, how the partnership was going. And I'm a huge Mesa Boogie fan. I've played Mesa stuff for the majority of my live gigging days, whether that be a rectifier or a Mark Series amp, mostly the Mark Series stuff. But, I'm excited to see where this takes Mesa Boogie. I was always a little afraid at the beginning that Gibson might stifle the cool things that they have been doing over the last couple of decades. But here it looks like, Mesa Boogie is going to, of course, continue on. And they've been putting out a lot of cool amps as of late. And then also do some Gibson amps with Randall Smith. So we'll see what goes on there. But I'm kind of interested in hearing what your guys' thoughts are on that in the comments, and seeing, do you like Mesa Boogie? Do you think it was a good partnership? Just let me know. Yeah, let me know what you think, because one of my favorite brands, so I don't want them to get ruined. And speaking of Gibson, last night I was watching the Metallica, the first of two 40th anniversary shows that they've been doing in California. Started at midnight Eastern. They'll be doing another one tomorrow, and it's on Amazon Prime and it's on Twitch. So if you're a fan of Metallica, these shows are really cool. They had a really cool intro at the beginning where they were going back through their Kill 'Em All days, all the way up until they have, Rob Trujillo in the band now over the last decade, I guess, right? One of my favorite bands of all time, one of the biggest reasons why I picked up the guitar. So if you're a fan of Metallica at all, the shows are free. I don't think they're doing a replay, at least not right now. So if you want to go check out Metallica's second 40th anniversary show, go check it out tomorrow. I believe it's at the same time, 9 Pacific, on both Amazon and Twitch. And when they came out last night, James was playing a white Gibson V. So I really feel like he's the next person from Metallica, in addition to Kirk Hammett, who's going to get a signature Gibson. I wouldn't be surprised. And Kirk was playing his ESP guitar, one of his ESP KH2 series guitars. And I think Kirk said he was going to, just because he's had such a storied history with ESP, I think he said he's going to, go back and forth. He's Kirk Hammett, right? So he can have one of those dual relationships with two of the biggest guitar brands on the planet, and play ESP guitars and Gibson guitars. You also saw guitars like, coming out for Tony Iommi, Jerry Cantrell, a number of different guitar players. So there's no reason why people love James Hetfield. So there's no reason why he can't be the next person up to have a signature guitar. So that's it for me link-wise. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little tiny bit about 2022. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I have in my notes here, what failed, what went right, any suggestions, and anything that you guys are thinking about, what you want to learn. John, I see you in the chat. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you stopping by these live streams. I would love to get more people to the live streams in 2022. That's going to be a big focus of mine. So if you, John, I know you're really doing a lot of cool stuff with your practice schedule. If you have any recommendations on what you want to learn in the new year, or where why you like some of the certain guitar places that you like, please drop it into the comments and let me know, because, of course I'm going to do my own thing with my own practice, my own music creation, and journeys with gear. But the whole reason I do anything with Chasing Sound is for everyone who pops on these live streams, is in the Discord, reads the newsletter. I mentioned last stream, those are the couple things that I feel like really went right in 2021 for the brand, right? Is that I was so happy to start these, even if we only have 1 or 2 people in the streams right at the beginning. People are catching them on the replay, and I think I can clip certain things out of these streams that could be their own little video, especially some of the lesson parts. So I'm going to continue doing these in 2022. The newsletter, of course, has been a constant for me. So that's going to be happening in 2022. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So yeah, the newsletter and the live streams have been great. Haven't been posting so much on the main site as I used to back in the day. I need to get back to that. I've just been so happy doing a lot of video content these days, whether it be a live stream or a video, or working on TikTok and YouTube Shorts or Instagram. I think those are some of my main focuses for next year. Stuff like the Facebook page is like languishing, and it's not really bringing me any joy in the grand scheme of things. So I got to see what I'm going to do with that. I might archive that for the time being. We'll see. I know it's usually a good channel, But I don't know how many of you guys are on there on the Facebook. So I don't know that I'm going to really keep that around. I don't want to be in too many places at once. Um, I like doing our Discord. That's another thing which I think went really right this year. The Discord is just so much fun. I try to get in there at least a couple times a day when I can. Um, it's been a little rough with work, but it's my favorite place to hang out on the internet right now. It's really cool. All the guys in there are cool. We have a lot of different personalities who play different music, play different guitars. Um, when we agree, it's very cool, but when we don't, no one's too crazy with one another. So that's been a lot of fun. Um, I just want to provide a lot of value for the guitar players next year. Um, I think in like years past, I had done a bunch of different side projects focused around Apple, focused around just music. In addition, because maybe I got bored and all that stuff took time away from chasing sound rather than me focusing all in on one thing. So 2022, I'm saying it right here and now. No side projects other than chasing sound. That's the only thing I'm going to be working on. So I'm going to be able to dedicate all my time to it. Other than my day job, that's going to be my main thing. With that being said, some of you guys have already supported me. I really appreciate it. It for sure, running it comes as a loss, whether that be email hosting, web hosting for the website, some of the other little costs that are in there. Nothing crazy, but I really, really appreciate you guys supporting me throughout the years, just keeping the lights on, so to speak, right? So I was considering. I'm part of a lot of different Patreons on Patreon for a lot of different guitar players, and I see what they offer. Some people offer a lot, and I'm like, wow, this is really worth it. Then some people don't. So I kind of want to go somewhere in the middle where I know I can't go crazy and offer a million things each month, but maybe something on the Discord, maybe tabs for lessons. And other stuff too. I only know what I like to see on guitar Patreons and all that stuff. But I like to get your take as well, because just again, trying to start off 2022 on the best foot. Again, the newsletter will be back. These live streams will be back, and yeah, that's it. If you're in the chat, let me know what you're looking forward to. What are you working on in the new year? What do you think went right and wrong for you in the world of guitar this year? Whether that be a piece of gear that you loved or didn't love, or a practice thing that you liked. For me personally, aside from all the chasing sound stuff, one of my favorite things that I got happy about was picking up this new Fractal FM3. Man, I just been constantly practicing with it. I haven't been creating too many presets yet. I just been going with the stock presets because they sound so good. I traded in my Fractal AX8 for it, and now I have this FM3. It's actually sitting right next to me. I'm going to be practicing that triad course after this. But yeah, it just sounds so good. So if you're looking for a good modeler and you have about $1,000, that's what they're down to right now, I would definitely recommend that. So I think that's it for me for this week. Like I said, I was actually right this time, about 42 minutes, a little bit of a shorter one. But just looking ahead to 2022 and wanted to share some of those fun stories. Keep an eye out for that newsletter tomorrow. There's a lot of links in there. I'm sharing a lot to close out the week. And that's it from me. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in 2022. Happy holidays, and I hope you have a great new year. Take care.